Three of us started the show with full heads of hair and now have no hair.
I still have mine.
It's been an exhausting year, an exhausting 50 episodes.
It's a good look, Dr. Paul. You know, Rick.
Thank you. Yeah,
Dr.
yeah,
Paul
yeah.
and me.
Well, I just figured a lack of hair is a sign of intelligence, is what I was told.
Has to be, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna do
brainy scientist here.
Who wore it better later? Actually, yeah. Welcome. I'll tell you what. I am full of gratitude. I am full of appreciation for all kinds of things, and that's going to be my theme for this show. Just talking about all the things I feel so fortunate to have. And I'm going to start by saying I feel fortunate to have all of you with me today. And Phil is going to join us in just a little bit.
Okay.
We invited Jerry. He tried to move his schedule around to join us.
And he just couldn't let him. His wife wouldn't let him come play.
He said he would try to jump into the chat later. So these are all the folks that we've had on in the past year, most of whom I've just basically met in the last year. So I'll start by saying I'm really appreciative for all of you, especially Phil, who isn't here at the moment, but with whom I came up with the idea to do this show. And then I want to extend from there to say thank you to all of the people in the chat and viewing, and how fortunate I am to have all of you here with me, with us, and how full of gratitude I am that you tune in and that you care that we have anything interesting to say at all. So thank you.
I was looking back to see when the first episode I watched was, and it was episode 4. But I look back at episode 1 and I saw Don Carter. I saw I Am Starman. I think Ben was there. I mean, people that have been here the whole time.
Absolutely.
So my hats off to y'all for having to deal with Paul for 11 months.
For real. It's been over 12, actually. So our first show was in February of last year. Why don't we just go around the table, let everybody say hi. I don't know if the order's the same for everybody, so I'll read you off in my order. Jim, why don't you say hi to everybody and tell them where they can find you?
Hi all, Jim Wolgart. You can find me at the Key Issue Collectibles on Instagram. I'm always available at the Comic Book Cleaning and Pressing for Beginners Facebook group and the Conservation Specialist Face group. I'm thankful for all the contacts, and just I've bounced between communities this past 3 months or so. And I just want to say I'm so grateful for the new communities I've found in that time.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It really is. It's been a change, but I'm glad, instead of getting discouraged, I found people to actually uplift and encourage me to keep moving forward with this instead of just throwing my hands in the air and walking away.
Well, I knew of you a year ago, but we hadn't yet met. So I'm really appreciative for having met you in the last year. Shelby, you're up next, man. Say hi to everybody. Oh, you've got your hands full. Should I go to somebody else?
No, that's fine. I was just doing a little lotion. This was the No Pants episode. Oh, no, this is the 50th episode.
Oh, boy.
No Pants episode.
Oh, boy. Hi, Mom.
Can't take Shelby anywhere.
Yeah. You can take the boy out of the country. You can't take the country out of the boy.
Just say Louisiana.
There you go. Hey, everybody. I'm honestly, this has been the greatest community I've ever been a part of, and I've been a part of a lot of comic book communities over the years. And this has definitely it has been just an incredible experience, and I love the way we've evolved over the 10, 11 months and everything, culminating into some things that we'll talk about. But yeah, I just thank you, Paul. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Phil.
Hey, awesome show.
For starting this and everything. We do not have to wear pants now.
Optional.
I think it's a Texas thing.
But
Shelby's another person I didn't know a year ago, and almost more than anybody, how fortunate I am to have met him and to found a collaborator for the book, and a tremendously talented co-author, and someone with whom I've become very close and deeply appreciate, and a really good friend.
Yeah, and you've actually been to Casa de Shelby.
True. It happened.
And this room is messier than it looks.
I'll tell you that he's got some original art on the back wall. Right over his right shoulder, there's a Fred Hembeck that just blew me away. Wow. So we'll have to do some other day, more of a show and tell on that. Larry, say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody. It's Larry, and you can find me at Flying Out Comics. So, hey, Jim, I think your microphone is muted, just so you know. There you go. All right.
Yes, the microphone is muted. My horrible acoustics in my house. I can hear my daughter getting ready for bed upstairs.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just didn't think everybody else needed to hear that.
Okay, we appreciate that. Yeah. But hey, that's great to see everybody, here all together. This is the first time Rick and I have been on together, and same with Jim.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
Captain Larry's been one of my OGs, somebody I met actually before we started the show. And when Phil and I had the idea to do it, I said, I think that this cat will be a really good co-host for us. But he travels a lot. He may not be the most reliable week in and week out, but he's definitely somebody we want on the team.
I try. I'm home right now, and it's awesome. And when I'm in Germany, though, it's hard because it's like 2:30 in the morning, and the static I get for waking people up, because apparently I'm quite loud.
I don't. I've been in your presence. I don't feel like you're that loud.
Well, apparently, through concrete walls in the German houses, my voice travels. I tried to move everything down to the cellar, and I was denied access.
Maybe they should build thicker walls into houses.
Also note, it is illegal to dump your recycling on Sunday in Germany, and it's generally the country entirely dies. There's laws against vacuuming.
You can't make noise. You can't do anything. You can't even bring a rake into your yard.
I love it.
Being loud on Sundays is verboten.
It's verboten. All right. With that, Professor, say hi to everybody. Let them know where they can find you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Peter Alachi. I was on spring break all week.
Oh, so nice.
I got a chance to read.
That's why you're so tan, I guess.
Well,
what do you got? I got one of those too. It came in the mail. In fact, I got two of them.
I have two of them too.
So, Professor's like, I wasn't trying to brag, but I also have two, Larry.
And I live on a very quiet street, by the way, Larry. Very, very quiet street. So I'm on YouTube, Experiments in Conservation, and you can find me also on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome.
And I teach microbiology at Salem State University. That's my full-time job.
The professor's another person that I met in the last year, and just thrilled to have him as a friend, count him among my colleagues. Got to meet him in person this past summer because I talked my family into going to Salem, Mass. And I called the professor just as we were arriving and said, hey, do you want to get together for some food? He said, I don't want to impose. And I said, please, you'll be giving me a break from these people. It's all my in-laws. But really wonderful to have you. We've had you on the show several times. One of the great innovators in comic book conservation, and really appreciate having you on our anniversary show here. And then last but not least, among our current crew, and like I said, Phil will join us later. I think I'm hoping that Jerry will pop in the comments at least.
That would be awesome if he can show up. Yeah.
Rick Morgan, somebody I've been watching for years. Sort of surreal to have met you after watching your videos all through the pandemic, and great to have you on. Great to count you among my friends. And say hi to everybody. Let them know where they can find you in case they've been living under a rock for the last 5 years.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. I've been under a rock lately. I've been sick a long time. I want to first of all say I got a Speedmaster chronograph or a Seamaster chronograph today.
Oh, you should have let me know so I could coordinate, brother. I apologize. I'm not marrying.
So I Immaculate Comics is my company. I don't do anything with actual comic books for money, but I do sell cleaning and pressing conservation supplies, and I will make stuff if you want it. And that's where my joy is, helping you find your joy. That's what I like to do. So that's where I live, and that's what I like to do. I find I'm also have a lot of gratitude for this community, because when I was a kid, it was riding bikes and throwing them in front of the comic book store and hanging out there saying who's stronger, Hulk or Superman. So I had the great joy today of going to visit some friends who own a comic book store, and two older guys, gentlemen, they're 70s. One was my boss in the late 80s. He hired me for my first science job. He has his original like 4-color and Disney comics and Uncle Scrooges and Carl Barks from the 40s and 50s that he bought as a child. He's looking to like get rid of them and sell them, because as you do when you get older, you don't want to leave them to your kids. You don't care. I think we all feel about that.
Right.
We came in with him and his brother, and he was talking to Russ Bright from the Comic Tom channel, and so we were all talking. You could see their face. They were both 11 again for about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And their faces just lit up. They were like talking about the art and Don Rosa and Carl Barks and the Disney stuff and the ads and the cleaning, and they were just animated and excited. And I saw this sense of community that they probably haven't experienced in literally decades, probably since Johnson was president. So it was really cool to see this, and it gave me this sense of pride and joy to like it. And some of this is community building. I'm not going to lie; it's not just about the value of the books and about what grade bumps we can get. It's about people and people connecting with people, and I truly appreciate that. And that is my focus and the focus of Immaculate Comics. Really good.
I find it's very little about the value. For me, it's mostly about the community and secondarily about the hunt. I love the hunt.
Yeah, we all live for the hunt.
Yeah.
So
wow. Thanks everybody for sharing. I'm going to run down a few comments, say hi to the people in the chat.
Yeah.
Before we get started with that, I want to say special thanks to Salesboy Comics, You Pluck My Last Nerve, AG, and Collecting Chaos. They are sponsoring this show. So if you're watching it live,
perfect. Thanks,
no
guys.
ads, it's thanks to them. So give them a thanks. Give us a thumbs up. And if you want to be mentioned in next show, hit us up with a super sticker. Let's say hi to John Veach, Hugo, my buddy Mike, Lost in Wallace. My wife and I received our hardback copy. I wanted to thank everybody. The production value is really nice.
The books are really nice. I mean, I can't disagree with that. I was very impressed.
We cared about that. We wanted them to be high quality. Shelby's here, of course. Robbie Josephs is here. Congratulations on 50 episodes. Thank you. And we're truly amazing. That's very kind of you to say. Don Carter's here. Congrats from him as well. Let's see. My buddy David Starman's here. I hope you had a great birthday, man.
See Jason's there.
Collecting Chaos is here. He received his book on Wednesday, enjoyed perusing it. Getting ready to read start to finish. Rick Nestor, of course, is here. Welcome. Ben Stewart. What's up, Ben? The Archivist Adrift, Jason's here. Welcome. Jeff Goodsall.
He lost his book in Columbus.
Oh, who did that? Oh, you're further down than I am. Gerald Yates is here. Terry23 is with us through one of our 4 simulcast channels. Welcome, Terry. Let's see. At Jim, really enjoyed your webinar 2 weeks ago. Oh, cool. Do you want to tell us more about that, Jim? I didn't know about this.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Mic issues. Jim James from Improved Comics invited me to do a webinar to talk about wet stacks and just various pressing things that I've been working and developing and that have recently come out lately.
Awesome.
So it was a great conversation. I hope to do more with Improved Comics and that community inside itself too.
Absolutely. We had an episode where you shared a lot of Wet Stacks detail, and also Wet Stacks are in the book too. For those of you that maybe are on the fence, Wet Stacks are in the book. Ben Stewart says, congrats on 50. Cool idea for a fireside chat, says Loston. Welcome, Loston. Starman says, congrats on the 50. This will be easy, Loston. I'm like, yeah, I'll probably be texting somebody for a refill. Immaculate Comics, pants are for fools. Captain Kirk turned 94 yesterday, so also celebrating. Not as big a deal as our 50th show, but William Shatner.
Yeah.
Loston says, I have original art in the studio. One is a drawing of the spirit by
Speaking of
Eisner. Another is an inked Conan by Alfred Alcala. Oh, those are some catches. Yes, Rick.
I received an autographed photograph from Dick Van Dyke 2 days ago in the mail.
Oh, wow.
I saw that.
Reaching out to his personal assistant. He doesn't do autographs typically, but I've been in touch with his personal assistant for like 7 or 8 months now and talking back and forth with him. And he finally gave me Dick Van Dyke's home address, and I sent him a photograph, and he signed it and sent it back. He's 99 now.
Wow.
So,
That is amazing.
Yeah, and he's by far one of my favorite all-time actors. In fact, I was Rothenberg recently, and I watched Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Larry.
that was like my one of my first movies as a kid to watch.
I will say, I don't want to interrupt the stream here, but I will say I watched this movie as a kid, and I don't know if anybody remembers. There's this child catcher, whatever his name.
Oh, I had nightmares from him.
Yeah, and so he looks in this basement, this little window, and he's got this cage he puts kids in, right? And he's looking down, and he's looking for kids so he can eat them, right? And so I'm looking at this, and I'm watching this show, and I was horrified as a child. I'm walking through Rothenberg, pretzel in one mouth, Wurst in the other, cruising around. I saw this thing, and I dropped my food. I'm like, a cold chill went over me. I saw that window, and I looked over. I saw those carts right there, and my world just started spinning.
Wow.
The town this place was filled with. I'd forgotten about this movie, and like this horrible cold came over my body.
Oh, yeah, I had childhood trauma from that movie.
Yeah, and so that's just a quick thing. And then I got this autograph like right when I came back from Dick Van Dyke, so everything was kismet and came together for me. Sorry, continue. I didn't mean.
No, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
We're all fans here.
I'm going to interject here, Rick.
Yeah, Jim.
I'm sorry. That's your big memory of Dick Van Dyke. Is mine's Mary Tyler Moore. Much better memory.
Yeah, that she's up there too. You cannot. It's impossible to not love Mary Tyler Moore. Yeah,
Jason here, I highlighted this comment because it really hit on something that's been a central theme for all of us and something we've tried to build into the community is collaboration. We've been openly sharing, trying to build a community. I have some slides later. We have a couple things to share with everybody. But that's one of the themes is definitely open collaboration, sharing, and putting out there what we're doing so that others can learn from it and build on it. Right? Like, I could come up with the greatest way to do something. And if it's obsolete next week because Jim figured out a way to do it better, awesome. Right? That's where we're trying to all be. So it's great.
Challenge accepted.
Unbothered Kitty says, congrats on 50. That's friend of the show, Kat. Thank you. Rick says, Rick.
Still waiting for it. Uh-oh.
I'll have an update for all of y'all here in a moment. So I'm letting Paul get through his.
I'm trying to get through this without politics, but Rick, if Canada was the 51st state, you would already have it. So just saying. I hope everybody takes that correctly. Do I have to say elbows up now? Loston got his signed copy. Vulu, welcome to the show. Says what a lineup we have. Jeff Goodsall's here. He says the Hulk, obviously. I don't know. Let's go around the horn. I actually think Superman. I think maybe Superman. I think Superman. Hulk is fine too. Jim, what do you say? Superman or Hulk?
I think
Strongest
Superman.
there is. Superman. Shelby.
Oh, Superman for sure,
Superman.
man.
Larry.
Superman, yeah.
Ooh, Peter.
I would say Superman.
Oh, Rick's going to be the only one who says Hulk.
Yeah, Hulk. I
Hulk.
don't even know why that's.
Oh. Jason says we're still wanting a Captain Larry certified Megalite box from Immaculate Comics. Let's put that together, guys. Let's put that together. Guerrilla Productions is here.
We'll put Rick in production for a full-size cabinet.
Yeah, it can be done. It's just a question of money and time, as everything.
Steve G is here. Nari Nan is here. PDF did not do the physical copy justice. Awesome. So glad to hear you have it and you're happy with it. 9.9 Newsstand is here. Niobe Comics is here. Travis Moriarty is here. Wow, a lot of people are here.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Usually
That's
this takes
good.
us like 5 minutes to do. Exec Collects is here. Just wanted to thank Immaculate Comics and the Cap for all the incredible pressing and cleaning related that helped me in a major corner of my CPR journey. That is awesome. Bronzeville here. Hey, Jim. He says needed Benny Hill to save you. At least some Benny Hill's music anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure he's been canceled 100 times by now. He can't say his name in public, I'm pretty sure.
Knights of Old is here. I'm not sure if I already said Collecting Chaos. Wow. Thomas Cap says, what's up, everyone? All right. I think that's everybody. If I missed you, I'm sorry. That's a lot of comments, more than we normally have. Great. So here's what I thought we'd do. We're going to do a very quick, what's it worth? And then we're going to go around the horn. We're going to do some, what are you most proud of for the previous 12 months? What are you looking forward to in the next 12 months? So a little looking back, a little looking forward. And that'll be our show. So I have slides for a few folks. And like I said, I'm going to do these ones pretty quick. We're going to roll through this conserved comic book pretty quick, but we'll get to play our game. We'll let people guess what it sold for, and we'll have fun. So Action Comics number 41, this conserved copy on the right sold in the last week at Heritage. The Blue Label sold in the last year also on Heritage. So we've got a nice comparison. So what's going on? Action Comics 41, October of 1941, one of the last pre-war issues, but war was on its way. There's actually a couple of wartime covers even before this one. So it's really getting into the swing of the war era of the Golden Age. I like to talk about sort of three periods of the Golden Age. There's a pre-war period, the war sort of jingo period, and then the post-war period, maybe the Atomic Age. Median grade on this one's 5.5, 91 universal copies, another 21 restored. Not an especially valuable book, but, early action, pre-war. Here's this beautiful Blue Label. This one is from the complete collection of Christine Farrell. And so it auctioned off just a few months ago. Beautiful copy, obviously, 7.5. And here we have Graders Notes, light spine, stress lines to cover, light cover tanning, staple tears, tear with crease, right center front cover, very light stain, bottom of front cover. So, 7.5 for somebody do the math for me, 85-year-old comic book, something like that, close to it.
Mm-hmm. Close.
Wow. Off-white pages too. She put together a hell of a collection. I feel fortunate, speaking of feeling fortunate, I feel fortunate to have a couple of the books from her collection, and they're still not all auctioned off. There's going to be more of that to come. This one sold October 26th for $5,000, $40. That's with the buyer's premium. And I think that's right in line with this book from a beautiful collection.
It's a nice looking book.
It is, and it's a cool cover. Not a war theme, but very much, very action packed, very dynamic, and very much of the, faster than a speeding locomotive kind of style. As far as I know, I don't know if Superman was actual flying yet at this point, or if he's still leaping. So I'm sure someone will let us know.
Depends on when the radio show started, because that's when the locomotive, blah, 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 and all that, I believe. Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that is when he started flying, because they had him flying in the radio show. So then he had to start flying in the comics.
Yeah.
43? Maybe sooner, though.
That's what I was thinking too, Paul, it was closer to, it wasn't 41. It was closer to the beginning of the war.
So he's still leaping here, not flying. Here's our book of interest, and you'll notice it's really a nice book.
It's a nice looking book.
In many ways, this one presents better than the other one. I'm going to go back to my first slide. Look at this side by side. Look how dingy the non-conserved copy looks.
The conserved one shows really well.
Just kind of yellowish and just kind of not nearly as bright and vibrant. Here's an example where the cleaning really made this book pop. So what was done to it?
Yeah,
Tear with crease, left top, back cover. Crease bottom of front cover. Conservation includes cover reinforced and cover cleaned. It's unclear to me why the grader's notes say there's a tear with a crease. Like, if you're reinforcing the cover, you should have sealed that tear. Maybe they're just indicating that there was a tear that was sealed, but it doesn't say that. So,
well, the
as usual, grader's notes.
Well, they're pretty individual. Yeah, there's nothing. They don't have any drop down menu where they just put stuff in. They're actually typing in at the moment. I've found a lot of these now that there's just misspellings and things like that. That told me everything is entered individually by that individual graders. So that's just how they looked at it.
Yeah. As usual, leaves us a little bit guessing. Here's some larger images. So the top half of the front cover, look how gorgeous this is. Bottom half of the front cover, you can see some of that creasing on the bottom here, but man, pretty minor.
This is beautiful.
Yeah. Back cover. One nice thing is they cleaned the cover, but they left this pencil mark that says B8/20, probably 820 a date. Love to see them leave that kind of mark. We talk about it in the book, but as a conservator, it's best to leave that sort of stuff, generally speaking.
You damage it trying to get rid of it.
It's
Bottom half. Yeah, it's part of the history. Bottom half of the back cover. Really, truly a beautiful presenting book. So what do you think this one sold for? For reference, the Universal sold for $5,040. So let's put in our guesses in the chat. Get some guesses in. Jim, what do you say?
4,300.
43. Shelby?
I'm going to go 3,000 even.
$3,000. Captain Larry?
1,700.
Professor, are you going to do 1,701?
I'm going to do 2,000.
$2,000. How about you, Rick?
Can I do? Should I do $1?
I usually announce the closest, and I announce the winner per Price is Right type rules.
I'm saying 2,500 is what.
2,500. All right. Let's see what kind of guesses we got. Lots of guesses in the chat here. We've got some people that jumped into the game. Rick Nestor's at 3,750. Collecting Chaos 3,650. Ben Stewart 3,900. Caitlin Lube, welcome to the show, 3,900. Don Carter, 4,200. Carlos Collects Comics, welcome to the show, 3,300. Revolver Comics, welcome, 2,600. Metal Elf Collectibles, man, people like guessing. This is all these people that hadn't said hi yet. Welcome, Metal Elf. Love the name. 2,200. Salesboy at 3,200. Gorilla Productions, 2,750. Loston at 4,500. Vulu, 3,200. Archivist Adrift at $2,001. Terry 23 at 27, Mr. Collector at 2750, Immaculate at 2500, Bronzeville at $4,000, Knights of Old at 1999, and my buddy Hugo Danner 3850. You guys ready for the reveal?
Yes.
Boom.
Nice.
Just over 50%.
Yeah.
I think it's let's see, 52%. 52%. Well, you could say it's sad. On the one hand, it's sad. On the other hand, somebody got a hell of a deal.
They really did. Go
ahead.
I'm firmly like under the impression that restored and conserved books are going to start losing their stigma. They're going to start gaining more value. And I think we've started seeing it a little bit. But with a book like this, just looking at them side by side and the trivial amount of conservation done to it, I think that book deserves better than the value I got for it.
Will somebody scroll through the guesses and tell me who the winner is?
Metal Elf was closest without going over, but I think the closest was Immaculate Comics at 25.
Jerry's here.
What was the number?
26.
No, because somebody's at 27.
Oh, okay.
Terry's at 27, so that's within $60.
I thought the price was 24. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
So maybe Immaculate got it then.
A couple people pretty close. I think
Mr. Collector is probably the closest, but
no, Terry 23 is at 27. That's only $60 away.
So there you go. Okay. Yep.
Woohoo! Thanks for everybody that played. Yeah, Jerry's here. Jerry, wow, look at all the wonderful individuals who share so much of the community, their knowledge and work on comics. Thank you, Jerry. Really appreciate it. Wish you could have joined us. We'll have you on again soon. All right. So what do y'all think of that?
I think it's great.
More comments? Yeah.
I think it's better looking than the blue label, personally.
I think it does present better.
Yeah.
To your point, Jim, we're braced for some low prices on some of these conserved books. I mean, I think when we first started the show, I think in an upcoming episode, I want to do a retrospective of these segments. When we first started the show, we were sort of at the camp that conserved books were half to 2/3 the value of Universal generally. But we've seen some conserved books that got kicked in the pants, man. We've seen some at 20% or lower. So when we have one above 50,
above FMV.
Yeah, we've seen a few. We've actually covered some restored books that sold more than Universal value for really rare stuff. So take it all with a grain of salt. I think when I see over 50, I'm encouraged, because I'd like to see that trend continue to be closer to, a smaller gap between the two. We talked to Matt Nelson about it, and his takeaway was, even if it might be discouraging that it's only 50, the good news is it's opened up a gap from restored, because restored is probably more like 25%, and conserved books used to be down there in the basement. And so they are moving on up. So, like anything in life, it could be a half glass full, half glass empty. I like to think of Salesboy Comics as half glass full. Thank you, Salesboy, for the super sticker. Appreciate you. So he'll be minimally sponsoring next week's show. Thank you for your wondrous generosity. Again, another thing to be grateful for.
Cool.
So I have a couple just loose slides to guide some conversation. A couple things I wanted to say. Hey, Don Carter's also got $5 on the super sticker.
I was just going to point that out. Thanks,
appreciate you. A couple of slides just to sort of guide a few things I wanted to say in the 50th, anniversary show / 1 year, more or less. Welcome input from everybody else. So I'll just say something and then hope everybody sort of adds to it. So one thing I wanted to bring up was the tremendous growth in this community that we have experienced and enjoyed the benefits of. And this Facebook group started 1 year ago when we started this show, there were 100 members. And now we have just shy of 500. I'm sure the fact that I mention it today on this show will be at 500 before this weekend's.
I hope so.
Incredible. I can't say how much I appreciate everybody contributing there. It's been so positive, so collaborative. And I have a few comments later on just some of the progress that I think we've made because we've been so collaborative. But before we move on, anybody else want to say anything about this community and being a part of it?
I do want to say that the slope of the people willing to share information from when I first started making videos and sharing it was really flat, and then the community has grown really exponentially. That I think a lot of this was frowned on, and it was also, there was a lot of gatekeeping, and that as it's growing, it gives me hope for the future. I think in 50 years, a lot of these books will still be around because of these efforts, and it really inspires me.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're scientists by nature. We're sharers, right? Stand on the shoulders of the giants that came before and reach for the heavens and try to do something, just try to add to the body of knowledge with the time we're given. Hey, Phil, welcome to the show.
There's Phil. I don't think he's got his. I don't think he has his. He's hearing us just yet.
Jerry says he has a goal. This is a goal for the coming year. My new goal is to work on books and try to conserve books within universal grade. I might say this a lot tonight, so please forgive me if I do, but we have quite a bit of that in this book. So one of the things we really wanted to key on was, for every technique we talked about, we wanted to tell you how CGC would view it. And we actually engaged Matt Nelson. Every time we mentioned CGC in the book, Matt Nelson read that and said, yes, that's true, or that's not quite true, or that's true, but it lacks context, and I want you to add this or that. So he actually helped us craft some things that said, you can do this conservation work, and as long as you keep it within these guidelines, you can keep it universal. So I think that's a great goal, Jerry. Anybody else want to share? Actually, sorry, before we do that, Phil, welcome to the show.
Hey,
how are you, man?
Sorry,
there he is.
I phantomed myself in here. Sorry for being late, everybody.
No, not at all. Say hi to everybody. Let them know where they can find you.
I'm coming to you as always live from the border of Brooklyn and Queens here in New York City, and you can find me on Instagram at Phantom Restoration or at my website right beneath my name. And hi, Rick and Professor and Captain and Shelby and Jim and Dr. Paul and everyone here. I'm looking forward to watching the recap up until this point and continuing into the conversation with all you guys now.
We're doing gratitude, things we're thankful for, things we're fortunate to have going on, and we're doing a look back and a look forward. And as part of that, I mentioned earlier before you joined us that I'm really grateful for you, Phil. You were the one with whom I was chatting, and I was thinking I wanted to do this show at some point in the future, and I didn't think I was ready, frankly. And you said, we should do like a show like that. And I said,
well, gosh darn it.
If you think we should do it, then I think maybe we are ready. Yeah. Let's just do it. So thank you for saying that.
I'm glad that we pushed forward with it. And I never would have thought when I saw you at the summit, those many months ago, we'd be on a 50th episode of this.
Isn't it wild?
Yeah. Podcast. It's kind of
so I really appreciate your friendship and collaboration. And I have another thank you for you later in the show. It'll be a little bit fun. So anybody else want to talk about this community, or, you don't feel like you have to, but if anybody has it, I want to make sure also that everybody gets a chance to say whatever they want to say.
I think it's great the way everybody came together and just kind of gravitated towards, really the website, and they're asking all the right questions, and nobody harbors any, secrets or resentments or anything like that. It's all open. You have a question, we answer it. If we don't know, we'll tell you we don't know, or we'll find out. But with all the people that are involved here in this group, I mean, there's no shortage of answers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's what we learn from each other is enormous, right? I mean, the wet stacking method that Jim introduced, I tried it the other day. I was blown away. I mean, it's just game changer for me, with the compressor.
Yeah, I've got a wet stack here at my feet.
That's awesome. Hey, Shelby, do you mind jumping in and accepting Metal Elf, and we'll get one member closer to 500 in the middle of the show?
Read my comment.
Awesome. Shelby's Shelby's our other moderator in the group. I think everybody here is a group expert in the group as well. And if somehow you're not, let me say this too. If somehow I missed you, please forgive me. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people in this community. If in any of the lists I'm making, if in any of the thanks I'm giving, I missed you, trust me, it's not an omission on purpose. I'm not trying to block anybody or be a gatekeeper. I just have a lot going on.
I forgive you, Paul.
Thank you. So next, wow, what a year it's been. This is incredible that we were able to put this together and get it out, and there's been so much support for it. And really, Shelby has been, again, a great friend, an amazing collaborator, really brilliant guy, great writer. Shelby, why don't you talk a little bit about the first book on comic book conservation?
All right. Well, Jack was over here, and somehow he found a Shelby's Comics pen. He's running around with it. Yeah, one is I think it was a natural evolution of the group itself, because I know that I learned so much from Jerry and his videos, and of course Rick, and then when I discovered Paul and Larry. And I'm a researcher, I'm a scientist. I spent freaking 12 years in college, man. I took notes. I wrote down notes. I had a notepad and pencil, and and I took notes, and I started putting together my conservation videos based on those notes. And then Peter came along soon after, and and it started with Paul and I just talking about, hey, a couple of people have reached out and said, love your videos, but have you ever thought about writing this stuff down? Put them back. Great. Thank you so much. I hope everybody liked their rewards. I put a lot of thought into those and the bookmarks and stuff. So I really hope y'all like those.
The rewards are great.
But yeah, and at that time, it was one of those deals where I wasn't working. I just become unemployed, and so Paul and I talked, and he's like, "Why don't I make you a moderator, and why don't you keep up with some of these requests and things and stuff?" And I think it was Jason that reached out originally, and and I'll be honest, I kind of blew him off a little bit, and I said, "Why don't you write something real quick?" And he wrote about a one-pager, and I was like, "Okay, all right. If he's this serious about it, then maybe I better be serious about it." And yeah,
Jason was the spark that lit the fire.
He was.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah,
and he's got, and it's still in our archives, right? It's still in the file.
Yeah, he started compiling crib notes for the different techniques, and when he started doing that, we decided we need to get out in front of this. Not that Jason didn't do a great job, just that we knew the community needed this resource.
Yeah, exactly. And we have been talking. We knew the literature. We've been sharing the literature and stuff. So. It's just a natural evolution of everything with this group, right? Because I wasn't involved at its origin or anything. I came along afterwards and basically, forced myself on Paul and said, "You might not know this, but we're gonna be friends." And,
true. He's like that, and it was true too. And, it's true that he said that, and it's also true that we're really good friends. So he was right.
Go ahead.
Jerry says, I have a new series premiering soon in conjunction with Major Golden Age Key, provided by Brownsville. Awesome. I'm sure
Brownsville or
everybody will be
Bronzeville?
It says Brownsville.
I see it says Brownsville.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I think it probably auto corrected. I think he meant
Possible.
yeah, Bronzeville.
Yeah, and Morris is here. Thanks for joining us, Morris. I learned how to pronounce his name when he was on Rick's show, actually.
Yeah, so it, and if it wasn't for the community, and like I said, I've been a part of a lot of communities and comic auctions and etc. But this was the community that I really wanted to put something towards, and I just couldn't be happier with the book and with everything. Let me give a quick update. So far, we've only had one lost book, which isn't bad, out of sending out nearly 210 books from Kickstarter. So Ray, I did check. You got your book. I apologize for the delay in talking to you. Sorry about Canada. Oh man. So far everything that is delayed seems to be in Canada, and I don't know why, because I sent them all via Moose.
Should have sent him via Looney. Bronzeville, Jim confirmed that's him, not Brownsville. And you know what? I'll plug this. Sales Boy says, check me out. He's such a good supporter of this show. Check out his channel. It is fun. He says, I'm like crazy cousin that you try to avoid.
That's kind of fun. Just joking. He's a great guy. And then Jason, I did check on you. You're right. Somehow it got lost in Columbus. I don't know why. I don't know what's in Columbus. But
good.
Thank you all for your. We've gotten so many texts this week and stuff from people and everything. I just talked to Susan. Susan's super excited. Jerry reached out to us this week. So go leave a review on Amazon, please. That'll really help us out a lot. And I miscounted. I thought for some reason we only ordered 25 of the deluxe editions, but we ordered 30 of them. So I actually have about 4 extra copies if anybody's interested in the deluxe edition.
Yes, deluxe edition. The other 2 are available on Amazon, but deluxe edition just have a few left directly from us. That's the signed limited to 30. Super sweet. That's actually the one I have here. I'm just gonna say it. I love our Canadian friends. We have a lot of Canadian friends on the show. Appreciate all of you. Rick says, speaking of all the Canadians, it's okay if it's late as long as I don't pay 25% tariff.
I think maybe 200% is coming pretty soon.
No, you shouldn't, because I've shipped to Canada for many years now, and I think I know how to do it without them doing that to you. So I hope they don't do that to you. And then also, I did notice there's a few delays with Netherlands, Japan, and London. So, I mean, we had books to go to. No, we had
many countries.
6 copies go to the Netherlands, Japan, the UK, Wales,
other places in Asia. Absolutely.
Other places in Asia. So, yeah.
All right. So, thank you all. Appreciate you, Shelby. Thanks for everybody that contributed to the book, many of whom are here on this panel, many of whom are here in the chat. Thank you all. Let's move on because we've got a lot to cover today. Here's something else I wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Leaf casting in comic books. So I think leaf casting is sort of end game for comic book conservation in many ways. I think other people sort of view it that way. Kenny Sanderson went public with leaf casting 2009. And he claims that he thinks maybe somebody did it before him but wasn't public with it. So he doesn't claim to be first leaf caster of comic books, but he couldn't give us details of who that might be, and we couldn't find any evidence of it. So there may be somebody before, it probably was. A couple years after that, 2, 3, 4, not 5 maybe, I'm not sure, the Myers were doing some leaf casting. Jerry the Jitterbug, if I'm not mistaken, went live 2020, 5 years ago. So basically for, 15 years ago, we had kind of one person that was public. Then 10 years, 5 years after that, we had one more husband-wife team. Then 5 years after that, we had Jerry. So we're adding like one person every 5 years. The professor let us know that he was doing it like 4 years ago, but not public with it. So I put him here. So basically the state of the comic book conservation in terms of leaf casting, when we started this show, the Myers weren't active. They had more or less been put out of business by losing that lawsuit, which then they later prevailed on. I don't know if that's gonna get flipped again. Who knows? But regardless, it was Kenny Sanderson and Jerry.
Yeah,
that was it. It was Kenny, as far as was publicly known. It was Kenny Sanderson and Jerry rather. Look at this is a partial list now of active leaf casters in 2025. 1 year later, 1 year. So it took us 15 years to get to like 3 leaf casters, and 1 year later, we're over a dozen.
Tracy Heft would just be one person I know that does that would be on the
I was
prior to
I was going to correct.
That's the only person I can think of. That's the only
It was
person.
Tracy Heft that Kenny said that he had seen some things or heard of Tracy doing it.
Sure.
He was up in Canada.
Yeah, which is great.
But he's not super public though. Like it's on his website, but it's not like And really, to your point though, it's only one more person to a very small list. Really, the jump in 2025 is so significant.
Collecting Chaos, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So much better now than when I first corrected a spine roll in 1970. So in addition to Kenny, the Myers, Jerry, the professor, Captain Larry, myself, I know it's not on my content yet, but it will be soon. I actually almost dragged some stuff out to show, but we have a lot of other stuff. It'll be soon. Alex, Trent, Jason, Anthony, Jim, Mark, Don.
I'm still
Ray.
covert myself.
Yeah, we've seen your. I mean, listen, leaf casting's leaf casting. I think even if you're just doing staple holes, that's not in my book. Just doing. I mean, that's leaf casting, and it's important work. Actually, some of my favorite jobs the professor's done has just been the staple holes, right? Just getting in there, excising the terrible paper that's rusted and acidic, and just casting just that staple area. It's beautiful. So these, again, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, did I count 15? And I'm sure
too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure I've missed others. And I guess my point here is I'm so happy that this community is growing in this way. I think we've played a role. I'm proud of the role we've played in disseminating information and encouraging people.
Definitely.
I don't want to take too much credit. I think Jerry gets a lot of the credit, and I think it was inevitable that it would grow. I think we just probably accelerated it. So again, sorry if I missed your name, or there were some people that I knew were doing stuff and I didn't want to out them, Phil. So we didn't get a chance to talk about this. So, but the list is not necessarily meant to be all inclusive, more just to illustrate like this is something else I'm very proud of and very happy with.
This is how it's grown.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And continues to grow. I am sure that we will double again in the next year. I'm so confident this list will be 25 people a year from now. And that makes me happy. I like to see it. I like to know that our books are getting preserved and that we're collaborating and sharing information. It's awesome. Any other comments on this? I am excited to show it up. I apologize to those of you that have been asking for a long time for some of this content. I apologize that this channel has, in terms of my personal conservation content, has taken a backseat to some of the larger goals that we have, like for the community, like with the book and with this show.
Oh, the book sucked out a lot of your time. Both of you.
But I'll get to, you know, more conservation content as soon as I can, and I will be showing some leaf casting and my technique soon. Oh, then I'm going to start, guys, with, maybe I shouldn't start. Maybe I should actually, I'll jump back to that. I have one more thing that I wanted to present, which is a project that I'm really happy with for the previous year. I will go ahead and say, since I still have the mic, what I'm looking forward to is what I was just alluding to, which is putting together more content, conservation related content for the channel, for all of you, and interacting with you. Those are the videos that get the most views, they get the most interaction, and that I have the most fun because I'm actually in the studio doing stuff. So I have some slides for the professor, but since we were just on slides for a little bit, why don't we go around to the rest of the team? Oh, I have also slides for Captain Larry. Why don't we go around to Phil, Jim, Shelby, Rick? You guys can jump in, Poe, but just let us know something you're really proud of from the last year, something you're really looking forward to in the coming year with respect to comic book conservation. Do I have to call on somebody?
Bill,
I think.
Bill,
Is it, you want me to go? All right.
Yeah, Phil goes. He's volunteered.
I think honestly, the Tech 168 that came in from a Reddit post, and someone kind of said, "Hey, you should send this to a professional." It was me and someone else that they referred to, and just to like, it's a cool book. It came back a 5.5. It was just basic spine roll reversal, dry clean and press. It wasn't anything crazy, but just to like get to see that book coming from a collection that was found in an attic. It was kind of like the classic tale that we like as comic collectors, that we like to see, know a story associated with something. And the grade on the book was significant, a 5.5 for the first, for the origin of the Joker for that book that's a heady grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess on a related Batman note, something I'm really looking forward to too, and I guess like it's kind of more public now. I guess I'm kind of putting myself in the spot, but I'm in that shadow phantom category for also been doing some leaf casting on the side, but not really making it public because of a few reasons. But a book that I have here that should be right.
he didn't get the no pants memo.
Also, the producer's going to be furious with them. The producer told us never to turn our back to the camera.
Oh no! Well, sometimes you got to break rules to show cool books. So this is me, putting myself on the spot. This was a book that came in for a client. It had a lot of restoration on it. It was I believe it was a C5, which for us that know that's
Wow, that's a lot.
How you're going to do anything with that book? And it was a 1.8 C5. We were hoping maybe a 1.0, but it didn't come back a 1.0. It came back a 0.5. But a 0.5 of this book, as we can, a 31.
Yeah.
This is a great leaf casting candidate. So with the help, in all likelihood, because it won't be spot cast, it'll be full submersion of my leaf casting machine that I have here.
Yay!
Within the next, I'm not going to make it an official timeline.
Let's just say this year.
In the near future. Within the near future, I'll have this book to show and other books to show, and I'll be, officially and publicly offering leaf casting. I'm right on the precipice. I took a few jobs in, but I'm very excited to be working on this book. I mean, and I see copies of this when you're at a show, and like you see people that walk by a booth, and that's the book you're pointing at, because it is just one of those books.
It's definitely one of those books, man.
It's a surreal moment for me as a little kid, and I have the Batman from the cover of Tech 33 right here in my arm, and I'm a little biased. I think it's a better cover than 31. I understand he's brooding, but this is a full image of Batman. But obviously, if I like this, you got to think how I feel about something like this.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is just cool as
So
it gets.
that's a great book.
I think this
This
is the best cover of detective
unreal.
ever.
It's unreal.
That's my personal opinion. Awesome. Thanks for
So,
sharing, Phil.
Honored to
Jim,
get to do that.
one thing that you're proud of from the last year, one thing you're looking forward to in the next year, in the coming year.
Oh my God. Last year there were two big things I'm proud of, and I'm sure pretty much everybody already knows both of them. Finally launching the Seventh Stone. I'm really proud of that product.
Awesome.
It's a very specialized product, so I understand why sales for it have been a bit sluggish. But actually being able to remove oil from cover stock images and everything, that's been a big one. And being able to mass produce it and have people be able to get replicate the results.
Awesome.
The other big one for last
Great product and in the book as well. Featured
Yes.
in the book. Yep.
And yes, it is. And the other one, I think there's no denying it. Wet stacks, they're a game changer for so many people.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I was able to go public with it the way I did, and that the entire community has really just kind of grabbed onto it. And I log into Reddits and stuff where I know nobody, and I hear them talking about it, and I'm just like,
That's
really
great.
cool.
I say something. I don't. But
I know
it's just,
that's awesome.
it's an amazing experience. I had it with Bled O and Hop as well a couple years ago, but this one, yeah, I don't know. I think the wet stacks are, for all level of pressers, just a bigger jump, a bigger change.
Yeah.
In the upcoming year, I have a couple things I'm working on. I've recently been pretty outspoken about press fresh versus printer fresh books. And that's something that I would like to see the community kind of gravitate towards, or be able to discern and say, this book has potential to be printer fresh, this book has the potential to only be press fresh. Other things that I'm looking forward to for this year, I have the Comic Clean Dry that I'm coming out with. And God, I had one more thing that I was thinking of, but okay.
We should be working on something together.
I do have I'm currently working on the outline for a book that I plan on publishing hopefully by the end of the year. I want to give it some time because the market's got a bunch of new books hitting the shelves, and quite honestly, I don't know how I'm going to compete with your book there, Shelby, Paul. It is too damn good.
We've talked about it. I think that the outline you've carved out is very unique. I think there will be a lot of non-overlap. I was interested in the idea. I think it's a niche that that a lot of, not niche being small, but just like a way to carve out your own space.
Right.
And I hope we can publish it through Liberty Hill Press. So we're looking forward to collaborating.
Yeah.
Definitely where I'm aiming for it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it's really taking Jim's products and techniques and just showing you the practical applications, right? I mean, that's what it really is. You know, I mean, our book will show you general and things like that, but we don't get into Jim's products and stuff, a whole lot, other than this is something you can use, right? But something very specified towards those products.
A deep dive.
Elevator pitch is Betty Crocker cookbook for comics.
Yeah, and a deep dive into key issue collectibles products. Yep. Shelby.
So I'll be super quick. So I feel like I talk a lot. So this year, hopefully I can start getting back into some conservation work. And I did finally drop a video today. It's probably one of the worst videos I've ever produced. But I need
Go
to get
watch it.
Out.
Everybody's going to tune into and watch it now. Yeah, everybody watch it today.
It was for the convention I went to, the con I went to last week. So it's just like a 10-minute video, just overview of the convention.
I'm looking forward to that, actually.
Q&As that I recorded later this week. And I just went to Knoxville, so talking about the community and all that stuff. Well, every time I go out of town, I hunt down comic book shops. And I tell you, there were a couple of hidden gems in Knoxville, Tennessee, okay, up in the freaking mountains, all right? Like, you know, Turn on the Banjos and freaking Deliverance around here, okay? But those of y'all may not get that reference. Anyway.
No,
we get it. Sure.
I'm gonna do a video. There's one cool store. I'm not even gonna talk about it. You gotta see it. This freaking store is amazing. But here's a preview of one book that I
remember when
up.
Shelby said he was gonna be brief.
He also said he was wearing pants. So
let's see if anybody knows what this book is.
Ooh. Uncle Scrooge, anybody?
no.
Wow.
All I know is Donald Duck. What's the story behind it, Shelby?
That a couple of people know. This is the first Uncle Scrooge.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a grill for a lot of people.
Yeah. So a lot of people know the Uncle Scrooge #1, where he's in the rowboat with the gold coins. This is the very first Uncle Scrooge in comic books.
Nice.
So
Is this like the Hulk 180 versus the Hulk 181?
No, this is full.
No.
this
Nothing
is
is infamous.
It's just not on the cover.
Yeah, he's on the first page and all that. So, I will be doing a restoration on this. A conservation on this book. And I'm kind of like Jerry. One of my big goals this year is, talking to Matt and all that. Yeah, I think we can do some conservation and still get blue labels. And,
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the things draw people away from conservation. So
Awesome.
that's it.
Rick, you're up because the other two fellows sent me some slides.
Oh, okay. On the first slideless one. So I think last year I was traveling. I didn't do a whole lot of books, but this year doesn't look any better, honestly. But I think I've been focusing more on creation of tools and training techniques for people. That's where I've been putting a lot of my energy in these this little thing that's spinning around, this little spine tick remover tool. Since I got a 3D printer and a CNC machine and a lathe, laser cutter, I'm just like making goodies all the time, Right. But one of the things I want to focus on is helping people improve their workflow and efficiency. So I've started making little modular, like this is an example of one here, like a little modular thing that you can clip things together to hold your tools together, so that you can arrange your space so that you're not knocking stuff over and making a mess, and it holds a staple tool and keeps it vertical. And there's a magnetic spot to hold your like staples and stuff. I'm trying to think about what would make it easier for me if I had the least amount of space and I wanted to use all the flat surfaces the whole time. It's like, what would that be like? And then so I'm trying to do that kind of stuff more. But for some books, I've got like a lot of books sitting around that I don't do this. So if anybody watches this, I don't do this for money. So please don't send me more books. But I only do it for free. But I got like this one today. I got a 35-cent variant Star Wars.
Oh, nice. That's a big book.
Yeah, and I'm working on that. I got a lot of big boy books here, and this needs a clean and a press. But I'm like, do not want to get a gray bar, So on this one, so I'm going to be as gentle as possible with it. But it's got a lot of room to move, and an 8 to an 8.5 or an 8 to 9 on this book is
big.
Really big. That's a big book. Yeah.
Yeah. This is I've never even seen one before, honestly.
Right.
First time I've ever seen one. But I do want to say there's something else interesting is that I got today, and I feel comfortable I can talk about this with this group because I think the owner of this book isn't here. I have a book. Speaking of leaf casting, so I have a lot of anxiety about this because like 3 years ago, I had someone send me a Hulk 181. He bought it online. He sold a boat. It's money like a big book, and he sent me a Hulk 181 in the mail to look see if anything I could do to improve it. Yeah, send it to me. I'll check it out. I got put it in my stack of Hulk 181s over here, right? And then I got it, and it was fake. It was not a real book. And it was the hardest thing to tell the guy I received the book on April Fool's Day, which wasn't great. And then he also happened to go to the hospital because he had a heart attack the day before. He sends me a picture of him in this bed with all these things hooked up to him. And I'm like, oh. He goes, what's the good news, Rick? I need some good news. I've had a shitty day. I've had a heart attack and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, about that. Like,
Wow.
Brace yourself.
Right? Like, I was like, it was rough. That was a rough conversation and a rough day to have that. But I got another one. And I have an FF #1. Someone just bought. And I'm looking at this book, and it was even hard for me to tell. I had to spend, it's right here. I spent like 15 or 20 minutes on this book. And I was looking at this, and I feeling, I'm like, it's not right. There's something wrong with this book. And he's given it to me, and he's excited and happy. And this is the book here. It doesn't look bad, but this is a reproduction cover married to leaf cap to a genuine back page.
Yeah.
In this book, and the staples are swing line staples. They're not in the right spot. You can see where the leaf cast holes filled the original staple.
Yeah.
These staples are like only 6 inches apart instead of 7.5. They're like here. And
well, if you're gonna fake it, you should do a better job. You know.
Yeah,
I did a good. I mean, I'm telling you, it took a while. I mean, my heart
It's always
was
hard
pounding.
to tell.
Yeah, this is the book here, and if the back is genuine, it looks pretty clean on the edges for early '60s marble. That's the first thing.
Yeah, they probably carefully did it, and
it looks it's not bad inside. You know,
yeah, you could tell. I could tell from right there. It's a reproduction cover on the inside.
Yeah, it looks like there's something off.
It is.
Yeah.
It's all, this is where the casting starts. Look at the spot.
Oh, yeah, you can see. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This much of the cover of where my finger is, I can feel it. Is where it's this much of it. This little bit is the original cover, and from here over, it's married and it's cast to it. If you in a loop, if you look at it, you can see the little dots from the printing. I forget what that effect's called.
The dot matrix.
It stops and
Yeah,
becomes painted like right
matrix, yeah.
on a line with the loop.
Wow.
And in the back, you can see the. If you look here, you can see. There, you can see the casting line, like right there. It's like there's like more casting. There's like a little bit of here. There's a casting right here. It's hard to tell, I guess. In there, you can't really see, but in the front, it's more obvious. I guess you have to get it in the right light. There, see at this angle, you can. See
yeah. Okay, I see it. Yeah.
And then it's like it's not the same paper. You can see this right here.
Yeah, the interior page looks all wrong.
Here's some other thing. There's a stain going through this book right here on every single page that got something here. It's not on the cover on either side.
Of course not. Yeah.
So and the staples look brand new, and they're swing lines. They're not the 0.51 inch printer staples. You know, so
it's a Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So what would CGC grade this one?
Covers in here, and it looks good. But this person paid a lot of money for this book. And
CGC would just put it as a facsimile cover.
It would be an NG.
I think NG, although if you rip that front cover off, you can get a 0.5, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Take the cover off.
But if you leave the cover on, it's going to be NG.
But as a supposedly complete, that's a bummer for the person that has the book.
Yeah. I believe, and I may have this details wrong, I believe he got it at a convention from a person who got it just before, so I'm not...
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's traceable. You know, I'm not sure.
You're used to seeing an original book that might be trimmed or something like, that it's original, but it's been messed with. But something like that, where it is such a significant portion of the book that's not original, the front cover.
And it's a clear case of deception, right? It's not like I accidentally cleaned this book and forgot to tell you. Like somebody was trying to get some money out of this guy, and it was. And I tell you, I hear this stuff, and my throat just tightens, and my stomach sinks, and like. It's worse than it's even worse than accidentally ripping a book or something, or tape stick when you pull it. Although those aren't any fun either. But when you see something like this, it just reduces your belief in humanity, and It's just the stinky, ugly, dirty part of this. We've been talking about the good things we're thankful for. There's something really bad should happen to people that do
Well,
this.
I've got this early Superman from the 1940s sitting in the drawer right here that I went full stop on. It was in a CGC slab. I took it out myself, and I started working on it to clean it up. And Phil was the one that caught it. He goes, "That's the wrong back cover." And sure enough, it wasn't caught by CGC, and I already took it apart, so it's on me. And I'm sitting there looking, and it's still sitting in the drawer right now, waiting for a donor. If I come across one, but it was just like I paid a bunch of money for the 1940s Superman book. It was early 2-digit
Eagle Eyes
stuff.
Phil here.
Yeah.
Out,
Phil goes, "Yeah, that's the wrong back cover." I went, "Oh my God." And I checked, and he was absolutely right.
Yeah,
it does happen.
It's the worst. We're having the best of humanity here. Maybe someday we'll have the worst of humanity.
Generally, that's what CGC is for, though, is to mitigate that kind of stuff from happening. And also, though, to CGC's credit, they are very good at if you haven't cracked it out yet and you have a picture, they will, or it's still encased, you can send it in and they'll
I had already started working on this book,
but it's still you can't go back in time on that. That's a bummer.
Well, let's get the show back on track.
Yeah. So happy.
Did you want to say something you're looking forward to, Rick? I know it's not talking to the owner of FF1.
Just making the organization stuff. I have the books to work on, but I'm really looking forward to helping. Now that we've all got, lots of us are contributing chemicals and items to the world. I want to help the world get through these books faster before the 50-year termination date is up for all of them.
I'm looking forward to collaborating with you on something this year, and I'm going to put in a second vote for a collaboration between you and Captain Larry on the light cabinet. But I'll let you guys work that out.
Yeah, I saw his picture. That's very easily doable.
Oh yeah,
you guys are too.
All it is just scaling.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go. Speaking of Captain Larry, let's go into his slides. He put a few slides together to just guide us through his project he's really proud of and project he's looking forward to.
Yeah, this last year, this is probably the project I was most proud of. This is that Wonder Comics #9. It was in a CGC case with a blue label. It was a 2.5, and it was the cover wrap was glued to the first wrap, and that assembly was completely split in half. So, and it was glued with PVA glue. So I had to separate everything, and it was just a lot of work and a lot of missing paper. So this book had to be leaf casted back together. In general, it's a very expensive book. I mean, a bad copy is around $2,000. So I was kind of motivated to get this thing conserved. So I got out of the slab, and this is what I was dealing with. And once I got the glue off, you go to that next slide, you can see the missing material in this first wrap. Because the glue is it was done a long time ago, so I had to line everything up and do a fill on it, and the fill came out very well on it, and got everything reassembled right there.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I was very pleased how that came out, and off to CGC it went, and it came back nice.
Came back amazing.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. So, it was a pretty good. It was a rescue as well because it was, fully deacidified. It's going to last another 100 years, like we try to do. And this came out great. I was really happy with the results. So that was my favorite project for 2024.
Awesome. Yeah.
So
and left the penciled 1939. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, you don't want to take that off. I mean, that just adds character to the book.
Yep. That's just flavor to a Michelob man.
Exactly. So these are my 2025 projects.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got some LB Cole, some Matt Baker, and early Rivet Planet Comics and Batman. This is just stuff I have right here stacked up, and it's just like, man, I'm trying to do an airline job and fly an airplane, and I'm never home to work on these things. This is my therapy. I don't work for other people. I got enough stuff of my own. It's just this is just stacks of my own personal books that I just want to get through here.
Stupid work.
Stupid work.
Get in the way of comics.
Those are great books to have to work on too.
One of the things I've enjoyed, Larry, is seeing you get into the Planet comics, especially the early Rivet issues.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's happened since I've known you.
It
to
has.
see your excitement and to see your
I was just like, there's some such
fun.
cool books, and you got me into the whole CGC registry thing, and I was like, man, I want to pick something out. I says, you know what? I started looking at it. I go, Planet Comics would be pretty good.
So much fun.
So I started filling it up already, and I'm like the top 25 of the registry on it now.
Nice.
They're all graded CGC books, and
it took me like a year to break into the top 25 for All-Star.
Yeah, well, awesome. Yours is highly competitive. I think there's only like 51 or 52 people right now collecting Planet Comics.
That's pretty good. No, that's
pretty good.
That's actually pretty active.
There's some real expensive books in Planet Comics, so those would be a little bit more challenging.
The upcoming Heritage has a Planet 1.
I know.
I know you know.
Yeah, it's at $7,500 currently right now. So.
I know that copy intimately. That's the 4.0 that I worked on.
Oh, you worked on that?
A year or two ago. But Larry, I was gonna say that picture is so it warms my heart because I think I have a photo. I might have archived it from my Instagram. I think in 2018 or 2019 when I really first started getting into working on and it was like a group shot. Like, oh, these are the ones I'm excited to get to. I haven't had time to get to yet.
Yeah, that's
a very similar kind of group. An L.B. Cole, there was a Matt Baker, a wartime book.
Oh yeah.
Sci-fi, I love it.
Well, I'm sitting there looking around. I've got all these copper and silver. I just totally abandoned them, and just now I'm doing his golden age. I'm trying to think, well, shit. I guess they're going on eBay.
Getting slabbed and sold so that we can buy more golden age stuff.
But yeah, this is my Wonder Comics.
Beautiful.
That was my baby. That was a good one.
Absolutely. I'll do one quick one that I'm proud of, and it's actually also a kudos. I purchased a restored 4.5 copy of Tech 131 from Lone Star, and I consulted with Phil on it was all glued up. I consulted with Phil, who gave me some pointers on the glue removal. All the glue removal techniques are in our book, so I won't bore you with them. But look at this.
Wow.
I went from 4.5 purple. Granted, that's their estimate.
That's great.
Right? To here.
Universal.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful presenting copy.
It really is.
And I'm super proud of that. Relatively small job, but one
look at the grade. I mean, that
I haven't shared on the channel before. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So similar to your project, where you went from purple to conserve, but bumped 3 grades. I bumped 2 here, but went to blue. So
yeah,
super happy
mine.
With that.
Yeah, you should be. Yeah, mine just had a lot of material that I had to recreate.
Yeah, and like I said, I wanted special thanks to Phil, who advised me on that, and turned out beyond all of my expectations.
It was a great candidate.
Yeah, it really worked out well. So, Professor.
Yes.
You prepared some material for us.
Just a few slides, hopefully.
I know that book.
Yeah. So Planet Comics is one book I'm proud of conserving.
There it is.
The interior was split. The spine was split. All the wraps from each other, and you had to put them back together, everything together. So
let me know when you want next slide. Next.
Next slide. This is the book assembled.
Wow. Yeah, I remember watching this project.
Yeah, so
What a
it's
great
on my
book
channel.
and great project.
Yeah, Planet Comics number 54.
Beautiful.
And then nice and clean. I don't send my books typically to CGC, but I will try and send them in the future. And you can see the interior is nice.
This is why I'm so excited about Larry's new chase on these Planet Comics. I mean, these they're so gorgeous.
There's the same book.
Oh, sweet.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I did some leaf casting on the spine of this book, and all the interior, the wraps, the 2 pages of the wrap came together with a Tengujo tissue, essentially.
Nice.
So it was time consuming to do, but it was a fun project, and it's on my channel. People can watch it.
Absolutely.
It's rewarding. That's the best.
Very rewarding, yeah.
It's rewarding.
Yes. And Detective Comics number 162. Yeah, 162. And this is the one I introduced the method from Farnsworth, where you end up calculating the amount of furnish you need for all the spots to fill. Yeah. And
remember it well. Love this. Love this book. Love this project. Love the technique.
The book was in horrendous shape, very brittle and difficult to handle, actually. So the next slide, you see
this is one of the first things that you and I discussed, Peter, was how we thought this ought to be done.
Yeah, and this is actually probably where I introduced the pH measurements for the wraps, because in the past, all we did is took the wraps, put them into the sodium hydroxide, hydroxide bath, right, and assumed they were deacidified. Not necessarily, right?
Yep.
So unless you measure the pH of the wrap itself, and you know where it starts at, where it ends up at, you're not really doing necessarily a good job deacidifying the wrap, right?
Absolutely.
And this particular one was at pH 5 or so, right? Started at pH 5 and then ended up at pH 8.
Anybody else shocked at how low the pHs were that the professor, like some of these are like 4?
Well, I didn't start testing them until after I saw this video for the professor. I got the same test kit and everything, and mine are coming out at 4 to 5.
Wow. Is it any wonder they're getting yellow and disintegrating?
No, that's why we deacidify everything.
Right.
So,
well,
that's the true conservation of a comic book, is to deacidify it. And until people start getting more mainstream and accepting that fact when they look at a conserved book,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to accept that terminology. I always say neutralize instead of deacidify. My skin crawls a little bit every time I hear that.
I think they're both technically correct, right?
I agree. Yeah, I think neutralize is also a good way of putting it.
But it's just that we've been in the habit of saying deacidify. I mean, maybe we should say neutralize. I mean, I'm tired of spell check. I'm tired of spell check changing that word on me, and I have to go back and retype it out.
For the general population, they understand that paper is acidic when we use that word acid. And it immediately conjures a visual. And if we say neutralize, they're like, oh, okay.
I will say, I think a lot of the terminology that I use comes from the conservation literature, some of it subconsciously. And I do think that the conservation literature generally uses deacidification versus neutralization.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's basically, I agree. It is kind of the same thing. It is neutralizing it. But I think for everybody, looking at it, that, deacidify kind of triggers, oh, okay, yeah, there's acid in that paper.
Yeah.
So.
And I just want to say, the professor and I, we approach problems the same way as many of us do here, but like just the rigor with which, you go after these problems, I really appreciate, Peter, and really enjoy your channel. And I,
appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Love collaborating and learning from you. And I know Jerry did this before you did.
Yes. Jerry was the first to do it a couple of years ago, actually.
But the depth
And-
into which you went into it, to me, it just comes, from it comes a more applicable kind of understanding, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And that's, obviously I'm a fan of Jerry. It's not a dig on him. It's just that different people approach problems differently. Different brains kind of wrap themselves around problems differently. And so this just really appeals to me.
This was very intriguing to me. It's like, why doesn't it go from pH 5 to pH 7 after 15 minutes? Like it goes from pH 5 to pH 6, right?
Yeah.
Very slow,
Well-
very slow process, right?
Well, the answer is that it's the total reservoir of acid,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
So that paper actually has a large reservoir of proteins,
Right.
in the same way that we leave the alkaline reserve in the paper when we're done. There's literally an acidic reserve in the paper when you start. And especially when you're doing this technique on the mat, which I showed on my channel with the Avengers 1, where I just spray it. The total volume of alkaline buffer that you deliver is not that much, and the reservoir within the paper can actually overpower it.
Yeah.
Which is why measuring it is so important. Just love it.
Yeah. So I'm down to like 3 strips right now. I need to find more of this VWR pH paper. It's the best paper available right now on the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought the same kit from Amazon. So
Did you?
yeah,
Oh, good.
it's there.
So it's back on Amazon. Okay, good. Good
I
to
think
know.
I have like my body weight in those strips. Somewhere from them, but I'm bromothymol blue. I just had like the drop. These strips are a great idea. I had like put it on the paper itself. I would drop the indicator because bromothymol blue goes yellow at like 4 to 5 and above like 6.5. It turns blue, but then you've got a blue spot.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah, you gotta get the non-staining strips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is just a dropper, like a liquid. I would drop the page
Okay.
itself, not on a strip, because the strip you're not measuring the pH of the paper. You're measuring the pH of the water that came
Of
off
the
Right.
liquid, yeah.
right? And
Right.
so I would drop it on the paper and get a little drop on there. And of course, then you got to wash it off of there, which you can do, but it's not easy. The strips is a much more convenient, much better idea.
Yeah.
Let's see if I understand this question. Preference for starting pH when begin a wet cleaning. So usually we're washing with a deacidification alkaline bath around 8.5 or thereabouts.
It can be a little bit higher. Mine's a bit higher than that. Mine's upwards of 11.
I've done 9 to
Yeah.
9.2. I don't think I've
Yeah.
gone higher than that, but that's for full submersion. If
Yeah.
you're doing spraying, you could do higher. Professor, shall we go to the next slide?
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is the leaf casting I did on the cover.
I never get tired of seeing it.
It's
Nice.
pretty cool, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the next slide, this is the finished product, basically.
Trimmed and folded around the rest. Yeah, let's do this.
It came out great, Professor.
Put it up here for a moment.
Oh, you got it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Look at
Yeah,
that
that came out
spine.
great.
That's awesome.
Love it.
You saved another one.
Saved another one.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably heading to CGC soon, I hope.
Well, that'd be great. I just want to see how they grade your work.
Yeah,
I think, we can learn a lot from doing that.
would be nice. Yeah, nice to know. And this is the inside. Shows the splash page and the centerfold, and then the back page.
Awesome.
Now, did you deacidify all your pages, Professor?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, all went to about 8 pH.
Okay, great. Perfect.
And then Wonder Woman. I have it here too, number 24.
Got some.
This is the second series of Wonder Woman, number 24. I had 2 of them. And this is the book, how it looks like now.
Oh, looks great.
Wow.
Wow.
Love me some H.G. Peter. Love me some Wonder Woman in bondage. It's great.
With the mask. And this is how it looked before. So you can see a lot went into fixing it nicely, right?
Yeah, these are the type of books that I just look for that have these just broken spines. Nobody wants them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I look at it like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. It just needs
Yeah.
some love.
Yeah.
Just give it some
Absolutely.
love and fix it back up.
I think I paid like $120 for this book, and
Yeah.
And the next
Ad
slide
for All Star 36.
This is the leaf casting I did on it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that came out nice.
Yeah. I didn't bother staining the pulp in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where there's a fairly significant division among some of us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Look-
Jerry feels really, I think
Kenny does too.
he puts as much energy into that as the bonding and everything else, and Kenny Sanderson as well. I want to get it so it's not jarring, but I'm much less concerned with a perfect color match. This for me is beautiful. I think one of the things I like about it is that I can actually see the work you've done. If the work you did disappeared because the color match was so perfect, how would I appreciate the work you did?
You wouldn't.
And you might say, well, you'd appreciate it because it's invisible. And, for some people, that's fine. Again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's personal preference, right?
Yeah.
Well, leaf casting in general it's graded on the how we're improving the structure of the damaged book, and the color is just eye appeal. CGC does not grade on color. I mean, you can make it purple. I don't recommend that, but they're not gonna fault you on it.
Well, the question came up this past week.
Colors to pick.
The question came up this past week. There was an area on a book in the Facebook group that was missing paper, and that area was normally black, and the question was, should I leaf cast it with, should I mix up a furnish that includes, like say black construction paper as the pulp?
Right.
I wouldn't.
So I can show you an example of what I did here on the flash comic, right?
Yeah.
Where I did match the orange color.
Did you use pumpkin fibers? I know you use only original fibers, so it had to be like pumpkin fibers.
Yeah, pumpkin fibers. Yeah, so I used orange color actually on the top.
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then on the back side, on this side here, it's white.
Oh, I love this book.
Oh.
You know what's funny? Jerry the Jitterbug also conserved a copy of this book and leaf casted it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I've done some other books as well. I have them here. I can show you later. And this is how it looks now.
Beautiful.
Yeah, after.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you're sending some to CGC just
I think so, yeah.
for feedback?
I need to start doing it, yeah. What's that?
Just for feedback, or because you want to sell some, or?
Just for feedback, and I haven't really sent them anything in the last couple of years, since they lost my box of CGC books. They sent it back, but it took 4 weeks to locate them. They were lost somewhere along the transition.
Yeah.
So this is the centerfold, and then this is the back page.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Love these house ads.
Mm-hmm.
Back cover looks great.
And this is Planet Comic number 49. This is one of the very first books I worked on, actually. This is before I had to
remember
do
this one.
issue or anything like that. So I was imitating Jerry a lot with my leaf casting, right? And I was using artist paper and, some other kind of paper, right, with this.
Anybody else in love with this book?
Really good. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my gosh.
This is how bad it was. I got it for like $70 I paid for it on eBay. Terrible shape, right?
It's pretty sad looking. Yeah.
I love it.
Funny how to
Oh my
us we know $70 is like a bargain because you can do the work.
$70
But to
for
the average
Planet Comic
person, they're like,
49
you
is a
spent
bargain.
$70 on this? What's wrong with you?
I
Oh,
know.
I
Look
know.
at that
Trust me,
splash.
I've been buying all the Planet comics up, and I know exactly what they're selling for. And $70 was a steal, even in this condition.
Oh, I love this.
Well, you can see my work is. So this is how it turned out at the end.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah, it
very
looks
nice.
Yeah, it's
Very
got
nice.
great eye appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still could
Another
use some
one
more
saved.
cleaning and all that, whitening and all that. I didn't bother again.
Oh, I didn't remember seeing this one. I thought when I saw this mess right here
This
that
is an
you were
older one.
previewing, saying,
Yeah.
"This is what's coming, guys," and I was getting excited for it. But here we have the final
Well, that's
already.
an older one.
Yeah, it went back together very well. I've
Oh,
got
yeah.
in fact I've got this
That's incredible.
exact same book in almost similar condition sitting on my bed right now, waiting
Holy.
to be done. So I'll be
Be done,
working on
yeah.
that in the future.
That's awesome.
And the next slide shows you the inside.
Oh man,
Yeah,
look at
that looks
art
that
and
looks
the
great.
You can
colors
see
and
at the bottom,
layouts.
I use leaf casting to seal the tears instead of Tunguja tissue. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
the
we've
next
talked about
one-
this. This is personal preference.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
either's obviously, fine and correct.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Peter, you're a superstar.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And this is the book.
Hold on. I need to switch over to you so everybody can see you. Here we go.
There's a similar feeling like growing food in
Oh,
a garden
yeah.
and then making a sandwich and eating that sandwich with the food you grew. Like you holding that book, you're like, I'm responsible for this book.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for this.
I did
put a little
this,
bit of me
yeah.
into this. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
These are some of the books I worked on in the past.
Oh, yeah.
These were also in terrible shapes when I got them. You know,
Beautiful.
Batman, Flash,
That one. Yep.
yeah, Planet Comics.
What
This
what
is the
what,
most-
what kind of projects do you have coming up?
This is the most recent one I'm working on right now. The series ends next week.
Mm-hmm.
And
watching that
then
one.
what I'm working on
What a
actually
great
is
series.
more of refining the furnish recipe I'm working on right now, and I'm working on using kaolin clay as an additive to the.
Mhm.
Okay, I've often wondered about you adding the clay.
Yeah.
Are you finding it's working good? And how much? Yeah, I mean, just quantity wise.
Mhm.
Well, I'm working on that right now, but like 1 to 2% maybe you add it to your.
Yeah, it's going to be
recipe
very
and-
small. Yeah,
very small
That-
amount, and
the-
you
I-
gotta
I
mix
think-
it really well, and you got to use retention agent with it to draw the clay to the fiber. So it's kind of complicated to do, right? So I'm working on the method to do it, and it's good to use for covers in general.
I'm
I just-
well,
right now-
Let's jump into that. But before we get into that, look at this insane layout from the Atomic Age in Planet
Isn't that
Comics.
something? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
From other
gosh.
worlds.
Well,
Um,
the furnish recipe is something we're all working on, and
Oh, yeah.
I would
Constantly
hazard
refining.
to say that none of us has a perfect recipe.
no.
And we're trying to come up with some because we're playing with colors, we're playing with textures, different methods of pressing.
There won't
and
be a perfect
flattening.
recipe because
There is
the
no
next
perfect
book will be
recipe.
a different color. The next book, the paper quality will be different. You have to just
Yeah.
build a
But-
skill set of different
Well-
kinds of paper that you can make.
Mhm.
And I've made puck after puck after puck of interior page paper, of cover paper, Silver Age paper, Golden Age paper, Atomic Age paper, tanned paper, white paper. You just got to keep making it.
Well, then other things I've shared with you guys is getting it to stick to your book. You're making new paper, sticking to old paper. Kenny wrote me, and he was laughing at me. He says, "Oh, Larry, king of paper that doesn't stick to comic books." Thanks, Kenny.
Aw.
But yeah, it's
Um,
just you're gonna run into all these different
Yeah.
roadblocks, and you got to overcome them one at a time.
I think I have not struggled with that one as much, Larry, and I think it's because I'm using extreme pressure immediately after I cast.
Yeah, see, I don't have the press that you have.
Yeah.
So
Those big copy presses, or what some people call a book press, I unless you can wrap your brain around engineering really well, I don't think most people appreciate how much more pressure that is than putting all of the weights in the gym on top of something. I mean,
Well,
we're talking the different. I
yeah.
mean, we're talking like 100 times the pressure. I'm not exaggerating. It's an enormous difference, and I think that's when you look at handmade paper. That's one of the tricks is they put it under extreme pressure while it's still wet, and that's a big part of the hydrogen bonding and locking everything together.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna, because I found a copy press, but it was like 250 miles each way to get it, and it's like $250. I'm just thinking, well, I can probably build one using a 20-ton press and a little
You
bit of
can.
a little
Yeah,
bit of
you can.
engineering.
Yeah.
So
You can actually save some money. Gonna turn this around. I have a
Oh.
Beaver
Yeah.
That's
press
what I
right here, hydraulic. Well,
yeah, I've
hydraulic.
got the same exact one, but I found you still can't get enough pressure on that.
The
It
professor and I
need-
both have that one too.
Yeah, I have it, and it because if you got a full wrap laid out, you need a much larger size.
Size-wise, yeah.
Yeah, and I've played with it, and I crank stuff down. I still have similar problems, but a true large copy press like what you guys have, the old cast iron ones from like the 1800s, you can't beat it. And you
Yeah,
can you
they're
just
really phenomenal.
the down force is unbelievable. But yeah, I'm probably just going to go ahead and go with a hydraulic press and
Yeah.
just engineer the plates out so I
Oh,
can
yeah.
squish it. So
Yeah, Jason, you buy wooden planks that are as big as your wrap, and you
you
lay
mean
it
Jim?
down. Your
You're
lay
talking
it
to
in
Jason.
between
Sorry.
with your blotter paper or paper towels, and then put that in there. So no, the wrap will not fit inside that, but once you put wrap size wooden blocks, then it will.
Yeah, it'll go in sideways instead of
Sideways,
widthwise.
exactly.
Yep.
I think that's in our book,
Yep.
but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Chris is here. Hey, Chris.
What's up, Chris?
Chris is going to be on the show next week, guys.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
I messaged
I'm
him
excited
earlier.
about it. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we've been on for a while. I think we should probably wrap up. I really appreciate everybody being here. I don't know if anybody has anything else they want to share before we say goodbye.
No, I think it was a great show having everybody. Jim's got a question.
Yes, I have a couple things. I finally remembered what I was going to mention
Aha.
earlier.
What's that?
There's a cold press technique I've been working on that I'm really looking forward to, like, getting out there in public after I get all the kinks worked out for it.
I'm
Okay,
excited. Yeah.
Peter, Professor,
Yes, sir.
scaling clay, I keep trying to make that work in my pulp, and it's making my pulp brittle. So when I like fold it kind of crumbles. So I think I might be using too much of the kaolin clay
It's
in
too
it.
much, probably, yeah, because you want it to
But-
add to the tensile strength without crumpling at the end, and that's the trick: is how much to add. And
But I'm so glad I'm not the only one who
Fiber.
thought to throw some kaolin clay in there to
Yeah.
try to, you know.
so
Also,
at least both of
but-
us are working on that.
Yeah,
good to
Jim let me in a little bit on some of what he's working on. It's based on something he found in the literature for the cold pressing. And I'm super excited about it as well. I think cold pressing is one of the frontiers of the next year. So
I'll just come out and talk about it right now. Professor by the name of Steve Gill turned me onto this idea and sent me some literature about Papacan's dry deacidification method. And I'm working on trying to make that relevant towards comics because that seems to be
super important. Super,
wonderful way
super
you can
important.
possibly deacidify comics as long as they're not like too far gone without having to remove the book.
Absolutely.
Or tear the book apart.
Disassemble it.
So,
yeah.
Been working on that. There's a lot of kinks left. I'm still trying to figure out on that one.
Yeah.
The biggest kinks I'm pretty impatient. But
Well, we're not going to kink shame here.
oh, please do. It's one of my kinks.
Awesome. Anybody else with anything before we wrap up?
No, I think we're good.
All right. I'll let y'all say some nice stuff later. But before we do that, thanks again to Salesboy Comics, Don Carter, and Collecting Chaos. Really appreciate all of you. Appreciate everybody for joining me. Everything everybody's done in the past year. Looking forward to the next year. Thanks for everybody in the chat. And I'll say until next time, take care of one another. And Shelby, why don't you say goodbye in your own inimitable way?
All right. Well, I'm not going to be back till the 100th episode. So.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, I'm sorry. Really?
Oh,
Hey, thank you all, everybody, for being here with us tonight. And with that, we're going to say peace, love, and comics.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Good night.